I don't...
I thought you wanted me to do this. It just sounds like now you don't want me to do it.
What do you mean I wanted you to do this?
This is what you wanted from me.
To be in this band?
To be in a band, to have a steady job, you know? To be, you know...
Of course I wanted you to have a steady job so that you could take care of yourself and your life and you could start your club.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. So I don't understand. Like, why aren't we celebrating?
Why aren't you starting your club?
You said yourself no one wants to go to that club. No one wants to go to a club called Chicken on a Stick.
So change the name.
Well, no one likes jazz. Not even you.
I do like jazz now because of you.
And this is what I thought you wanted me to do.
Okay, so I think what's going on, and I haven't seen this, is that her frustration is that she wants him to accomplish his goals, but he's kind of attacking her, and I don't know why. It seems almost unnecessary. It seems like he's twisting some of her past words, like she didn't like the title of the club, and she's getting frustrated because he's twisting the words and not seeing that she's really for him, and she wants him to succeed. That her frustration, I would say, is that he has obstacles from succeeding in his goals. And let's see what happens.
What's it supposed to do? Go back to playing Jingle Bells?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying why do
Scraping pennies so I can start a club that no one wants to go to?
There, people will want to go to it because you're passionate about it, and people love what other people are passionate about. You remind people of what they forgot.
Not my experience.
So that's this moment, not my experience. What would you say to him in this moment if he said that?
I just want to know more. It's like, what is your experience? And it sounds like it was a painful one. And
it's like in his experience, no, people won't show up if I'm passionate about it. Yeah, and that's where I think the core of his conflict is he doesn't believe in himself. And so I think if I were her, I would say something like, I think I would soften a little bit, and I would say, that would be really frustrating to not think that that's your experience, not to feel that that's your experience. And I want you to know that I believe in you, period. I think it would be harder for him to get angry back or continue this sort of cycle. And then maybe say, I'm frustrated because I think you're missing how awesome you are, or how much your charisma can attract people. I don't know hopefully that makes sense in the context of the movie, but let's keep going.
It is.
Well, whatever, all right? I mean, it's time to grow up, I have a steady job, this is what I'm doing, and now all of a sudden, if you had these problems, I wish you would have said them earlier, before I signed on the goddamn dotted line.
I'm pointing out that you had a dream, that you followed, that you were sticking to.
This is the dream. This is the dream.
This is not your
Guys
dream.
like me work their whole lives to be in something that's successful, that people like, I mean, I'm finally in something that people enjoy.
Since when do
Just
you
'cause I
care
don't enjoy
about
it doesn't
being
matter.
liked? Why do you care so much about being liked?
You're an actress. What are you talking about?
Oh man. So I mean, he goes for the jugular here. I mean, that is like that is just fight zone right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she goes for the jugular too. Like, I mean, since when have you cared about what people like, And then he turns it on her. So it's a counterattack. I mean, this is like fighting. So one of my rules for fighting, when I coach spouses on how not to fight and how to fight, is don't counterattack. It just don't bring up the past, don't counterattack, don't intuit motive, don't put motive on the other person. Let the person speak to their own motive. Silence. There's just silence here. Yeah. And that...
Maybe you just liked me when I was on my ass because it made you feel better about yourself.
And that is probably the most hurtful thing you could say, right? Maybe you only liked me when I was a weak, you know, and now that I'm successful, you don't like me anymore. Now that people like me, now that people believe in me.
Because that's the exact opposite. The whole conversation, she's been trying to tell him that I was attracted to your initial goals. I was attracted to your aspirations and what you wanted to be. And he's turning it back on her and saying, no, you liked me when I was failing in my goals. You didn't actually care about my goals or my success.
And I think that is the opposite of empathy. Empathy is seeing someone accurately for who they are and what they believe and their emotions. And so he's really just, both of them are at this point pretty off. There's a pretty large therapeutic rupture or rupture between them.
Are you kidding?
No?
She's surprised. That was an expression of surprise. So, wow. Yeah, that last part when it was kind of like a mic drop moment. And
Are you kidding?
she's really sad. At this point, her affect changes. She goes from being a little frustrated that he's not understanding her to feeling like a complete loss, like a kind of a dissociative, like this is unraveling before my eyes, this relationship. Okay, so what's the context of the movie?
So he's a pianist, wants to have his own jazz place, his own band, and she's an aspiring actress. And I think you're right, this is a really pivotal point in the film where from here on out you start seeing things unravel, and they both do return to their original passions, but they return to them separately. They don't find a way to both reach their own goals together.
Yeah. A little bit of empathy would go a long ways. It really would. I hear that so sometimes in these arguments, it's good to just blur the words out and to just see the affect for what it is and then empathize with the affect, because the words they aren't truthful. They're not real, they're not like something I really believe. I don't really believe those things. So it's like, she could say to him, I feel really hurt that you're missing me so much, and I am for you, and I believe in you, and I've always believed in you. You just said you have some issues with confidence. I don't know, that might be a counterattack, so I might not say that. But, I want you to know that I really believe in you, and just hold that. And if I were him and wanting to mend it, after saying those things, oh gosh, what would you say?
He's got to give it some space, I think.
I think he has to eat some dirt. Yeah, I think if he just said right after that, you know what, I'm saying this because I think my ego is too big. It's gotten too big from performing, and I need to check myself before I wreck myself. Go ahead.
Oh, if you want a little more context, this comes from her conversation earlier in the movie where he overhears her talking to her mother and sort of is having to answer questions like, yes, we're still in the same apartment. No, he doesn't have a steady job. No, he's working on things. He's working on things. And so I think he really feels attacked by her not valuing the effort he's putting in to provide for them. They've both been struggling artists, and he, in a sense, really gave up his dream to provide for her. And I think he's feeling unacknowledged in those efforts.
Well, in that case, his best comeback from that line is, you know what, I'm watching your reaction to what I just said, and I just can tell that I was completely wrong. I can tell that you really love me and you really support me, and it's just your family. Those lines were coming from your family, and I should differentiate that you're not your family. And I can see that you really support me and care for me and want the best for me. And I said some mean things, and I apologize for those things.